On this edition of Early Look, I'm going to be previewing the UFC 317 main event for the vacant lightweight title as Ilia Topuria takes on Charles Oliveira. My name is James Lynch. If you've never watched the show before, I'm going to go through a bunch of different stats and I'm going to give you my prediction for this fight at the end. After you're done watching this video, let me know in the comments which way you're leaning on this one. Would love to hear your prediction. As we usually do when we start this off, let's do a quick tail of the tape between these two. You can see Topuria here, 28 years old, 35 for Oliveira, 5'7" to 5'10", 69 to 74. So Oliveira going to have the height and reach advantage, but Topuria is going to be 7 years younger. Let's start first with Oliveira. He's the former lightweight champ. I know Topuria is the former featherweight champ, but this is a lightweight fight, so we'll start with that first. And you can see Charles Oliveira, 35 years old. Like I mentioned, he's got a 35-10 record. This is going to be a 5-round fight, by the way. Oliveira has got 10 knockouts, 21 submissions, and 4 decisions. He's 35 years old, 5'10" with a 74-inch reach. So he's 3 inches taller. We'll have a 5-inch reach advantage on Ilia Topuria. He's currently ranked number 2 in the lightweight division. He's the former lightweight champion. He's a third degree BJJ black belt. He's got the most submission wins in UFC history at 16. He's also got the most submission wins in UFC lightweight history at 10. He's got the most finishes in UFC history at 20. He's also got performance of the night. Get this is not a typo. He's got performance of the night 13 times. Pretty impressive. Oliveira had his amateur debut way back in November of 2007. Made his pro debut shortly. Actually, I don't even think that's right because it says his amateur debut was in November and then his pro debut was in, amateur debut November 20. I was getting mixed up with the grappling thing. November 2007 was in the amateur debut. Pro debut was in March of 2008 and then made his UFC debut when he was 12-0, I should say, against Darren Elkins way back in August of 2010. So he's been in the UFC for a long time. Oliveira is 23-10 with 1 no contest throughout his UFC career. He's got 20 stoppage victories. So notable wins. There's a whole bunch here for Oliveira. Jeremy Stevens, Miles Jury at the time was a good win. Kevin Lee, Tony Ferguson, 2 wins over Michael Chandler, Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, and Beneil Dariush. He's also got some notable losses as well. Jim Miller, Donald Cerrone, Cub Swanson, Frankie Edgar, Max Holloway, Anthony Pettis, Paul Felder, Islam Makhachev, and Arman Tsarukyan. Oliveira started his career at 170, fought 7 times at featherweight. He missed weight 4 times. He's also missed weight 1 time at 155, the fight against Gaethje, as he didn't make the mark for the title fight. Outside of that, hasn't had any major weight issues there, so keep that in mind when we're talking about Oliveira. He's had a couple layoffs of his career, but the most notable ones recently were the layoff from Dariush to fighting Arman. There was a 308-day layoff, and then going from Michael Chandler to Ilia Topuria, just a 224-day layoff, so not too long for him there. He's only had 1 real close fight lately, and that was the Arman Tsarukyan fight. If you go back and look at the media scorecards on MMADecisions.com, that's where the media can vote on who they think won the fight. You'll see the majority of media members did score the fight for Arman Tsarukyan in that fight. Majority scored it there. There was still, though, 8 people who scored the fight for Charles Oliveira, so something to keep in mind there. It was a close fight, and that was at UFC 300 last April. Let's look at Oliveira's stats. Very impressive here. 3.40 strikes landed per minute. That's very impressive. His striking accuracy is at 55%. His striking defense is at 49%, so below 50%. Takedown average 2.25, takedown accuracy 40%. His takedown defense is at 56%, and his sub average is 2.7. That is everything you need to know about the former lightweight champion Charles Oliveira. Let's move over to his opponent, the former featherweight champion Ilia Topuria, 16-0. He is undefeated, like I mentioned there. He's got 6 knockouts. Actually, hold on. Let me double check that. I think he's got, 6 knockouts, 5 submissions, and 2 decisions in his career. He's 28 years old. He's 5'7" with a 69-inch reach. So he's 7 years younger than Charles Oliveira. 2-time featherweight champion, or defended his title 1 time against Max Holloway. He's got performance of the night 4 times against Jai Herbert, Bryce Mitchell, Alexander Volkanovski, and Max Holloway. He's also got fight of the night 1 time against Josh Emmett. He did not have an amateur debut, went straight to the pros way back in April of 2015. So just to give you an idea, Oliveira was already in the UFC for 5 years after Oliveira made his UFC debut. So just keep in mind, Topuria started his pro debut 5 years after Oliveira made his UFC debut. Pretty crazy there. He made his UFC debut back in October of 2020. That was against Youssef Zalal, a fight that actually went the distance and a fight that is actually quite interesting. I wonder if we'll probably won't get the rematch just with Topuria moving up. Topuria is He is 8-0 in the UFC. Sorry, 9-0. 1, 2. Let me do the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so he's 9-0 in the UFC. He's got 7 finishes. Some notable wins include Bryce Mitchell, Josh Emmett, Alex Volkanovski, and Max Holloway. He does not have any losses in his career. He's had a couple layoffs in his career already. even though he hasn't fought a ton in the UFC. Going from Ryan Hall to Jai Herbert, there's a 252-day layoff. Going from Josh Emmett to Alex Volkanovski, there's a 238-day layoff. And then going from Holloway to Oliveira, there's a 245-day layoff. So little layoffs here, nothing significant, not like a year or anything like that, but still something worth noting as well. And you can see Topuria there winning 6 of his wins by knockout, 8 of his wins by submission. So he definitely goes out there to get the finishes, only gone the distance twice in his entire career. Let's check out these UFC stats for Topuria. Look at this. 4.69 significant strikes landed per minute. That's way higher than Charles Oliveira, who's at 3.40. 47% striking accuracy. Striking defense is at 64%, so he doesn't get hit that much. Way higher than Oliveira. Strikes landed per minute, 3.84. Takedown average 2.02. His takedown accuracy is at 61%, and his takedown defense is at 92%. That could be very interesting against Oliveira, who undoubtedly will look to take this fight to the ground and use his jiu-jitsu, but you never know. Topuria, again, started his career off as more of a jiu-jitsu guy. You look at it there, he's actually got more wins by submission, and a lot of these wins were coming by submission early in his career, but obviously has evolved in the standing as well. Okay, let's look at the odds for this one. Pretty interesting odds here. So you got Topuria, almost a 4-1 favorite here. FanDuel having him at -400. Betway, same thing. DraftKings at -345. The comeback on Oliveira around +275. Tapology does not have any votes yet, which is interesting. Usually they have it. This fight was announced a little late, but if you look here on Tapology, we don't have any predictions made yet for this fight, although I do expect Topuria to be the favorite there just based off the betting odds. Okay, which way am I going to go on this fight? It's a tough one because if you guys have watched this channel, you know I'm very high on Charles Oliveira. Enjoy watching him fight. I think he's very well-rounded. But unfortunately in this case, maybe not unfortunately, maybe fortunately, we'll see. I'm going to go with Ilia Topuria in this fight. And really what it boils down to for me is a number of things. So first and foremost, Topuria is coming off 2 of the biggest knockout wins in UFC history, back-to-back. He knocks out Volk, he knocks out Holloway. I know there's the argument of that, Volkanovski maybe came back a bit too soon. That maybe, led to the fact that he was able to knock him out a little bit easier. That could be the case, but how do you explain the Max Holloway one? Again, Max Holloway's never been knocked in his career. I know he has been hit a lot. The damage does accumulate, but still, him knocking out Max Holloway, super impressive. You think of all the fighters that Max Holloway's been in there with, including Conor McGregor. He had never been knocked out. Topuria's the first one to do it. Very impressive there. We've even heard stories about him training at other gyms and knocking guys out there at higher weight classes. It seems pretty legit that Topuria's got some of the best knockout power in the UFC right now. The other thing that I think could be a concern in this fight is if Topuria can't knock him out, could he go the distance? Well, he's shown that already in the fight with Josh Emmett, right? That was a fight that, again, he was able to go 5 rounds. So we know the cardio's there, even if he does land some pretty good output, I should say. So it's certainly possible he could go the distance too if it does go that way. I think overall, if this fight stays standing, you got to give the advantage to Topuria. But like I said, you saw earlier in his career, it seems like his ground game's very good too. That will certainly be tested here against Oliveira. The one thing I look at with Oliveira, and we talked about the stat there, Oliveira has 49% striking defense. Even when he was champion, Oliveira was getting hit a lot, and he's still getting hit a lot. And, we saw that in the Islam fight. We saw that in even the Gaethje and Chandler fights. Like, he does get hit a bit. You can't get away with that in a guy like Topuria who's got the type of knockout power he does. Basically, how I look at this is Topuria's got 5 rounds to knock out Oliveira. And Oliveira's older. He's 35. We're starting to get in that age range where, there could be a decline there. Again, I think Oliveira is going to be one of the toughest opponents that Topuria has fought, but I just don't like the way he gets hit so much. And you're fighting a guy who certainly has some knockout power. Now, one last thing I want to mention, people do go look back at the Jai Herbert fight from back in 2022. Jai Herbert won that first round. He actually knocked Topuria down in that fight. I think that was kind of an anomaly. If I'm being honest here, I think Topuria's got a lot better since that fight. It is a little concerning because it's up a weight class and, it wasn't like a flawless victory. He did still ended up getting the finish, but a little bit concerning he got rocked in that fight. Oliveira could certainly do the same thing here. He certainly has knockout power. But again, I'm not worried about that. I think that Topuria is leveled up enough. I think he's in the right headspace here, and I think he does find the knockout. So my official pick for this fight is going to be Ilia Topuria, 3rd round knockout over Charles Oliveira. I think he'll be landing some shots here and there, and I think just out of nowhere, kind of like the Holloway fight, he will go and land that knockout blow and knockout. I think he'll knock down Oliveira and then get the TKO finish. I think that's how this one's going to go. So I want to know what you guys think in the comment section below. Which way are you leaning on this one? Let's put it this way: is anyone picking Oliveira here? I haven't seen a lot of Oliveira picks. You let me know in the comments your prediction for this fight. I think Oliveira can win this fight. I just am a little bit concerned about how often he gets hit, and I don't think you can get away with that against a guy like Ilia Topuria here, and that's why I think Topuria will go out there and get the win here. But saying that, there's a lot of pressure on Topuria. If he loses, oh man, that's going to really flip the script at 155 for him because he's already abandoned 145. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens here. And for Oliveira, this is his last shot. He's not going to get another title shot, I don't think, at 35. He's got to go for broke and get this title. So we'll see. We'll see how this one all unfolds. Follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, at Lynch on Sports. Appreciate you tuning in to Early Look. I try and do the show before all the big fights. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.